It's glorious May. The sun is warming, the birds are chirping, the flowers are blooming, and Senior Moments is ready for you to enjoy. Welcome, everyone. I'm Linda Brayman, and so happy that you are here to watch Senior Moments. Senior Moments covers events and activities at senior centers in the Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti area, such as the Ann Arbor Senior Center, Turner Senior Research Center, the Pittsfield Senior Center, and the Ann Arbor Community Center. Also, the show provides valuable information for senior citizens on such issues as health, wealth, finance, and entertainment. Senior Moments is a monthly show. It premieres on the last Saturday of the month at 5 p.m. and it reruns 10 times a week on CTN Channel 16. Please check out our website, a2gov.org/CTN, for the playback schedule. Also, you can watch the show on YouTube. Please log in to youtube.com/CTN Ann Arbor to view current and archived shows. So stay tuned to Senior Moments, relax and enjoy the show. Hello, welcome to Senior Moments. I'm Linda Brayman, and we are here today with Katie Monkiewicz of the Washtenaw Library for the Blind and Print Disabled at the Ann Arbor District Library. Katie, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Now, Katie, what was your life before you started working at the Washtenaw Library?
Oh, wow. Well, it was a long time ago. But I went to school and I got my master's of social work at the University of Michigan. And I was working at restaurants while I was doing that. And then when I graduated from school, I was working in sort of like an employment agency type environment, preparing folks for their careers and helping them find work and things like that. That was right before I started at the library.
Wow. So how did you end up at this library?
Well, I actually really love that story because I was actually helping somebody else look for a job. And I had never considered working in a library myself before, but I saw the listing show up and I just thought, well, that just seems like such a perfect fit for me. And so I applied for the job, and that was 13 years ago. So it was a pretty good fit, it turns out.
Oh, that's really great. So what is your role there?
So I am a library technician, and basically what that means is I wear a ton of different hats depending on the day. So I do things like creating and scheduling programming, but I also just on the daily basis will help people find their books, pick out what they'd like to read, make orders, make adjustments for folks so that they can just make sure that everybody's got the material that they need.
So what is the purpose of the Washtenaw Library for the Blind and Print Disabled? And is it in the Ann Arbor District Library?
Yeah, so our purpose is basically, we say, for all to read, or so that all may read. And it's just basically like we want to make sure that everybody in our community has the reading materials in the format that's accessible to them, and so that they can experience reading in the way that they would like to and that is comfortable for them. So that's sort of like our overall goal. And while we are a part of the Ann Arbor District Library and they are our administration, physically, the Washtenaw Library for the Blind and Print Disabled. Sorry, let me just mention that we went through a name change recently, and I still, after 13 years of the other names, still kind of slip up on that a little bit. So the Washtenaw Library for the Blind and Print Disabled used to be the physically disabled. I know that you said it correctly at the beginning of the interview, but so we actually function as a library quite a bit over the phone and over the internet. So we don't see as many people coming into the physical Ann Arbor District Library location for our services as much as we see other patrons who are accessing the more traditional collections.
Sure. But now, what if I'm blind and I want to go to the physical building? How do I negotiate it?
So of course, anybody's welcome to come into the building, and somebody who was blind might want to come into the building because we have an assistive technology lab that has text-to-speech software, large magnifiers, and things like that. So it may be something that somebody wanted to do. The building is ADA compliant, and we try to make sure that everything is really clear. Our staff is available to help people get to their certain destination in the library. We're always happy to help with that, and we can use cited guide techniques to help folks who might need it.
Okay, so do you have books in Braille?
So we have access to books in Braille. We don't keep a collection at our library. The collection is actually kept in Lansing. And I don't know if you've ever seen a Braille book, but if you see them, they're very large. The volumes can be extensively big, especially when you're talking about, you know, maybe a volume like Gone with the Wind, which is going to be just like a very, very big Braille book. So they have the space for that kind of thing in Lansing, especially since all of the other collections are sort of going the way of digital format. The Braille collection remains something that people need a physical format of. For now, at least, there are things in the works that are going to help with that electronically as well. But people do still need access to those Braille books, and we can send them through the mail.
And what do you have to have? Do you have to have a library card? Do you have to be a member in order to access this library?
Yeah, so you do need to fill out an application for the Washtenaw Library for the Blind and Print Disabled, and you do need to qualify for the service. So the way that you qualify the service is that you can't hold a standard print book for a long enough time that you would want to enjoy it. So that could be because you have a physical disability with your hands, or because you can't see the materials in the way that you used to, or you just never have been able to see those materials. So once you qualify for the service, and that is very easy, we basically just take your word for it, but there's an application that you need to fill out. Then you get started with the service. We can, at that point, hook you up with the Ann Arbor District Library card. Anybody in Washtenaw County that qualifies for this service also can get an Ann Arbor District Library card, and anybody that lives in their household can as well. So the AADL card is not required, but it's kind of an extra little bonus you get if maybe you don't live in Ann Arbor, say you lived in Ypsilanti or Saline or something like that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I have a question, another question that I just thought of. And when I was in college, I read textbooks to a blind student, and he would take notes in Braille. Do you supply any people or do anything to help those people in school?
Well, there are lots of textbooks. Well, I guess not lots of, but there's a couple of textbook services out there specifically for folks who need those in different formats. And if somebody is a member of our library, we can get them in touch with those services. That's probably the best way to do it. Although I know that there are some volunteer services that are available through the state library that, you know, if somebody was interested in doing that, they might be able to find something that was a fit there.
Yes, but if they called you, you might be able to help them too. So,
oh yeah, especially finding those types of materials. We're a good place to start because we can sort of navigate that. We've seen all sorts of different needs, and a lot of times we're available to be able to hook people up with the solution to their need. Yeah.
Now, what kind of device do you have to help people? Can you show us some and explain how they are used?
Yes, absolutely. So our most common device that our patrons use is called the digital talking book machine. And it looks like this. And you can see the buttons are nice and large and they're tactile. So they all feel differently. So they're easy to use and understand if you can't see them. This machine takes what's called a digital cartridge. It looks like this. It just goes in the front of the player. And you can't put it in wrong, which is nice. You know, it only goes in the one way, and it's really easy to hold. It's got this hole in it. And then this machine will also take a USB drive. If you downloaded something from the internet, you can put one in the side over here. These days, with all of our resources being mostly electronic, one of the ways that you get books for this is just by calling us, and we can load up many books onto one of these. So it used to be you just
Wow.
get one book per, but now I can put, say, 20 on here, and you can have
Wow.
like your whole couple of months worth of reading right on one of those. So that's pretty cool. The
Yes.
other way that our patrons are really getting their books is through the Braille and Audio Reading Download Program, which has an app. And that I can show you a little bit. I've got mine on my my iPad here, but you can put them on your phone. They're available for iOS and Android, and you can kind of see, if you notice, that the buttons look similar to the ones on the player. So if you become familiar with one, you can generally pretty easily be comfortable using the other.
Oh, that's
I
nice.
really love using the app. A lot of our patrons do too. So that's becoming more and more common. It's lovely because you can just, if you're comfortable using the technology, it's just a matter of buttons to push before you've got this whole audiobook that you can read right on your phone or whatever. So it's kind of neat. We also have large print books, and those come through the mail. This is an example of one of the types of mail bags that we use. You just have your book and you just stick it right in there, and we mail it to you in the bag. And when you get it, there's an address card, and you just take it so that it would have your address on one side, and then you flip it over so it's got ours, and you send it right back in the mail. And everything that we put in the mail, or that anybody who is a member of our library puts in the mail to us, is all sent for free. So it's all free matter for the blind and physically disabled, and doesn't cost a thing. So that is a bonus as well.
Now, when you have your large print books, how large is the large print? I mean, who decided how large to make it? I mean, I would imagine, like, sometimes I have to go like this to see, and sometimes I have to go like this to see. So how large is your print? Is it standardized?
I would say that it's not as standardized as you would think. At least in sort of my experience, I have found that I think they say that, like, I may not have this 100% correct, so forgive me if my numbers are slightly off, but I believe that they say that anything above 14 point is considered large print, with 18 sort of being your standard. But I do know that I've gotten patrons feedback that says, oh, this one was too small, even though it was large print, whereas some might work better than others. So I do think that there is a little variable there, depending on the publisher.
Yes, yes. Speaking of numbers, do you have a phone number that people can call?
Definitely. So you can give us a call at 734-327-4224. And our staff is sort of in and out these days. So you might get a person, but you might get a voicemail too. So I would encourage anybody who does get the voicemail to please leave a message. We're very good about checking it. We'll get right back to you. And that voicemail will take up to about 5 minutes of recording. So please feel free to be as detailed as you need to when you call us.
Oh, excellent. So what's going on at the library right now? Do you have any new events or activities or new equipment?
We do. We have some events that we're just sort of starting up again. Like we had, just like everybody else, shut down our in-person events for a while, and we're really excited to be getting things started again. So we've got some of our regular library story times have started up again. We have emerging writers groups, and I know our letterpress lab is really popular. That has started up. But the big thing that I wanted to make sure that I talked about today was our technology fair. It's called Visions. This is Visions 2022. And that is a fair that we have at the downtown library. It includes vendors that will talk about their services and technology for people who are blind and physically disabled. And then we have speakers throughout the day. So I'm really excited to be planning that again, and very hopeful that we will be holding that event June 8th from 11 to 4 at the downtown library.
Oh, excellent. Is there anything else that you would like to tell us about the Ann Arbor District Library or Washtenaw Library for the blind and print disabled?
Well, yeah, I guess I've given you our phone number, so that's a really good way to contact us. But I guess to also let you know that you can get more information from our website, which is wlbpd.aadl.org. Or you can feel free to email us as well at wlbpd@aadl.org. And we'd love to hear from anybody who is interested in learning more about the service or ready to sign up. We'd be happy to hear from you.
Katie, thank you so much for coming and sharing this with us. We are so fortunate to have this special library and people like you to help. So thank you.
Thanks so much. And thanks for having us.
And to our great audience, thank you for dropping by. Be sure to come back next month for a new program with other information or entertainment that you will find helpful or fun. I'm Linda Brayman. Keep a smile on your face and your back to the wind. Thank you for joining us on Senior Moments. I'm Linda Brayman, reminding you to enjoy every day in the month of May.